today is the last day of winter, and well, I mean, climate change is probably going to change that. We can enjoy it while we can. For the past couple months, we've all spent our time, inside because can't go outside. But those of us who could have, went on a great migration of sorts, to warmer places. And a very popular way to travel is going on a plane. And a couple of years ago, the TSA made a policy that every person under 65 has to take their shoes off before they get on the plane. Now this gave me an idea. I realized that I could make an entire criminal empire with just senior citizens. So I got together the most diabolical senior citizens and grandparents in America. Well, a lot of them were demented, but most of them were evil. So I took them to a facility where I taught them how to stuff contraband in oversized clown shoes and use a cane to walk it off. Important detail to note about this whole operation, though, was I convinced most of my associates to join me by telling them I was their grandson. So they didn't have the best short-term memory, to say the least. But this actually worked in my favor, because anytime they get caught, they would say the person who gave them the contraband was their grandson. Now keep in mind, their real grandson hasn't seen them in years, and probably won't see them again until it's time for them to write their will, so I'm basically clear. But this whole short-term memory thing actually did bite me in the butt one day. I was outside the airport, and all of a sudden my hired grandpa walked right past me. And then I tried to flag him down, but he just kept on walking. So I was like, "Hey grandpa, over here." And he was like, Who are you? I was like, "It's me, your grandson." And he was like, "Oh, the grandson who won these illegal substances? Or the one who won these papers I stole from the Pentagon?" I learned two things that day. That some of these old people are just evil. And two, that they are really bad at driving. Especially when you're being chased by the police. So I'm still on probation for that. But I decided to turn my life around. I've abandoned my old ways. I've decided to focus on school, and I made a point to not fall asleep in class. The problem is, I have to stay awake in history class, and you know how much I love learning about dead people, right? So I come there one day, and my teacher, I guess, gets bored of teaching, so he puts on this really boring video about what the stones from the Roman Colosseum are made out of. And I swear, I closed my eyes for 1 second, and when I open them, half the class is asleep. And then I hear snoring, so I turn around, and I see my teacher has his head on his desk. He's passed out. He's just sleeping on the desk. And I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. So I put my head down, and I start to go to sleep. And all of a sudden, I have a dream. I have a dream that I'm a gladiator in the Roman Colosseum. But there's a problem. All my opponents are running away from me. And then the normally cheering crowd is like, "Julian, chill. Julian, sit down." And then the emperor is like, "What's going on? Everybody calm down. There's going to be order in my classroom. Do you people want to go to the principal? Julian, have you lost your mind?" And then I woke up, and I was in the principal's office. And I learned 3 things from that incident. 1, what the stones from the Roman Colosseum are made out of. 2, that I sleepwalk. And 3, that I no longer remember what the stones from the Roman Colosseum are made out of. So I got a hobby after that, and that hobby is swimming. And I go swimming at the Y, but there's a problem. My Y just so happens to be the most trifling YMCA in the United States of America. You might be like, "Julian, you're exaggerating. All Ys are equally as trifling. They're made equal. Everybody knows that." Well, you've never been to this one, because I swear, first time I went there, I walked inside. It was raining outside, and as soon as I came in there, I was like, "I'm here for my pool reservation." And the woman looked at me, she was like, "Sorry, honey, pool's closed." I was like, "What do you mean the pool's closed?" And she was like, "Lightning, baby."
What?
Lightning? This is an indoor swimming pool. And she's like, "I had nothing to do with it, honey. Management said so." I was like, all right. So the next week, I come there. It's a nice day, around 12 p.m. I walk inside, and I'm like, "I'm here for my pool reservation." She's like, "Sorry, honey, pool's closed." I was like, "Again? What for this time?" She was like, "High tide, baby." High tide? This is an indoor swimming pool, not the ocean. And she's like, "Well, I don't know nothing about high tide, sugar, but I do know management knows about it, and they said you can't swim today." I was like, all right. So for the next month, I went there with little incidents, mostly because she was not there. And I was going to the pool. I was about to jump in like I normally do. And before I did, I heard a voice just say, "Before you jump in, I'm going to have to see you swim first, honey." I was like, "Swim first? I come here every week. Why do I have to swim first?" "I don't know you, sugar." I was like, "Okay, how much do I have to swim?" And she's like, 15 laps, baby. 15 laps? Says who? Management, sugar. And management also says you better fix your attitude. Management. Is it just me, or does it seem like this whole management thing is just her, trying to throw a wrench in my plans because she doesn't want to do lifeguard duty? Right. So I decided one day to call her bluff. I walked in there, I brought out my inner Karen, and I was like, "I want to see the manager." And she was like, "Okay, honey." I was like, "Wow, she's not trifling today." And then I started to walk down to the manager's office, and I noticed something. And that entire Y, I was the only person there who was under 65. And then I walked in to the manager's office, and I immediately recognized him. It was my hired grandpa, the same one who got me arrested. And then he looked at me and he said, "Sonny, when I was your age, I would never turn my back on my grandpappy, even if it got me sent to federal prison. So I've been sabotaging your pool times, and if you want it back, you're going to have to be my grandson again, be a part of my family." So in other news, if anybody wants a free Y membership, just hit me up after the show. Thank you.